Elvis Presley. In 1977, the entire United States was shaken. Elvis Presley, the voice that melted millions of hearts, was reported dead at his Graceland mansion from a heart attack. The media exploded. Fans flooded the gates of his home, bringing flowers, tears, and a grief like never before. But just hours later, strange things began to happen. One person who attended the funeral claimed the body didn't look like Elvis. His skin was smooth, his hair was a different color, and it looked overly made up. Another person said the chest of that body was sweating. A corpse can't sweat unless it's alive. Then, a few weeks later, a man who looked exactly like Elvis was filmed at Memphis Airport. He wore a hat, dark sunglasses, and told security his name was John Burroughs. The creepy thing is, John Burroughs was the alias Elvis often used when booking hotel rooms. In the autopsy reports, Elvis's middle name was misspelled, Aaron instead of Aaron. Many believe this wasn't a mistake, but a clue that the death certificate was just a cover-up. Hardcore fans also pointed out more strange details. Elvis's coffin was unusually heavy, so much that 6 men had to carry it. Some say there was a cooling device inside, meant to preserve a fake body. And then, in 1994, a mysterious man with a voice identical to Elvis called into a US radio show and said, "I'm still alive, I just don't want to come back." Sounds like a joke? Maybe, but since then, hundreds of people around the world have claimed to have seen Elvis. In Argentina, in Australia, even in a small cafe in Las Vegas. A legend once said, death isn't as scary as being forgotten. Maybe if Elvis truly is still alive, then he's conquered death by making sure the world can never forget him. Tupac Shakur. September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. Tupac was sitting in a BMW with his close friend, producer Suge Knight. A white Cadillac pulled up, 6 shots rang out. Tupac was hit 4 times, in the chest, hip, and thigh. 6 days later, the media reported he died from blood loss, but something was off. No one, not even his family, ever saw Tupac's body. A funeral, there wasn't one. A grave, no one knows where it is. And the only person present in his final hours, Suge Knight, said, "I never saw Tupac's body. I don't believe he's dead." A week later, a man claiming to be a medical staff member revealed Tupac's body was cremated in a rush, just hours after his death was confirmed. No autopsy, no examination. Everything seemed arranged to end it quickly. In 1997, exactly 1 year after his death, the album The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory was released under the name Machiavelli. In it, Tupac wrote, "I'm alive and I'm living through Machiavelli." The name Machiavelli wasn't random. It came from Italian philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli, who once wrote about faking one's death to deceive enemies. After that, dozens of videos, photos, and recordings claiming Tupac was alive began to surface. Some said he was living in Cuba, others swore they saw him in Jamaica or Sudan. Even a 2011 video showed a man who looked exactly like Tupac walking through the streets of Havana, shaved head, familiar walk, and that same smile. Tupac once said in his final interview, "Only when I die will people really listen to me." Maybe that wasn't a metaphor. Maybe it was the plan of a man who knew how to become immortal. Michael Jackson. On June 25th, 2009, Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was rushed to a Los Angeles hospital after suffering cardiac arrest. The news spread like wildfire. Within just 2 hours, global media outlets unanimously confirmed Michael Jackson was dead. But from that very moment, strange details began to surface. The medical reports didn't match. The time of death was changed multiple times. His body was never publicly shown. Hospital footage showed a masked man with the exact same build as Michael being wheeled into a different room, and no one ever identified who he was. Months later, a video went viral online. In it, the hearse carrying Michael's body stopped inside a garage, and a tall, slim man in white clothes stepped out from the back of the vehicle. The person filming whispered, "That's him. He's alive." The clip was quickly taken down. Fans began to believe that Michael never actually died. They found dozens of clues. A mysterious Twitter account posted the words, "I'm safe. I'm free." A photo appeared of a masked man hiding in a Paris apartment looking eerily like Michael. And most bizarrely, a man named d.e.a.d appeared on TV to talk about his friend Michael Jackson. But his voice, his gestures, even his speech patterns were identical to Michael's. According to records, d.e.a.d was a man who had suffered severe burns as a child, but the face shown on that TV show looked almost untouched. Many believed it was actually Michael, disguised, saying goodbye to his fans in his own way. Some say Michael faked his death to escape the crushing pressure of fame, endless lawsuits, and to finally live a peaceful life. A close friend once revealed Michael always said he wanted to disappear, to watch the world from afar like an invisible man. Was that just a dream or a perfectly executed plan? Paul Walker. November 30th, 2013, Los Angeles. A Porsche Carrera GT crashed into a power pole and exploded. 2 people were killed. One of them, Paul Walker, the star of Fast and Furious. But strangely, no one ever saw the body, no official funeral photos, no burial footage, and the only thing shown to the world was a burned out car. Later forensic reports claim Paul was identified through dental records, but many question that. How can you identify teeth after an explosion reaching 1,472 degrees Fahrenheit? Why did the blood test results, time of death, and burn patterns all contradict each other? Some witnesses claim they saw Paul getting out of the car before it caught fire. A man with the same build and walk as Paul was captured on camera near the crash site, then vanished just seconds after the explosion. Online, countless videos compared faces, walking styles, and even scars on the wrist, and concluded Paul Walker isn't dead. At the time, Paul Walker was allegedly involved in a project investigating charity funds and human trafficking operations in the Philippines. Some believe he discovered something too dangerous, and that the accident was a staged disappearance, protected by the very organization he worked with. Of course, no one has ever confirmed it, but judging by how the case was handled, fast, quiet, without much questioning, many believe Paul Walker may have left Hollywood in the only way possible. Avicii. Tim Bergling, better known as Avicii, was one of the most successful DJs in the world, but behind the smile and the electrifying nights on stage was a man exhausted, lonely, and trapped inside the machinery of the music industry. In 2018, Avicii was reported dead in Oman. Cause of death, suicide. No public funeral, no final photo, no farewell. His family simply said he couldn't take it anymore. But fans quickly noticed there were no public police records about the incident, no photos from the scene, and one member of his team quietly told the press, "I don't believe he killed himself." The day before his death, Avicii sent an email to a friend saying he was holding something that could make the entire music industry afraid. No one knows what that something was, but a few months later, articles exposing abuse, trafficking, and secret power networks within the entertainment world suddenly started disappearing. One theory many people believe, Avicii had uncovered underground connections behind major international music shows, and his death was the only way to disappear, to escape the darkness he had accidentally stumbled upon. People say Avicii loved the ocean, loved peace, and once wrote in his journal, "If I ever disappear, believe that I'm somewhere the music never stops." Maybe he truly chose that. Princess Diana. On the night of August 31st, 1997, the Mercedes carrying Princess Diana crashed inside the Alma Tunnel in Paris. The driver was said to be drunk, lost control. Diana was taken to the hospital and passed away a few hours later. But from the very start, nothing made sense. No footage from the tunnel's security cameras. A mysterious motorcycle appeared, then vanished right after the crash. And most importantly, Diana's coffin was never opened publicly. Some emergency doctors said Diana was still alive when she entered the ambulance, but they received an order to stop midway. No one ever explained why. Then, years later, people claimed to have seen a woman identical to Diana, in the French countryside, then in Greece, even in Canada. There's one living witness, the man who was driving right behind Princess Diana's Mercedes that night in the tunnel. Security cameras outside the tunnel caught everything clearly, and that man was Le Van Than, a Frenchman of Vietnamese descent. Even though just one statement from Le Van Than could have answered questions that have haunted the world for over 2 decades, he has refused to speak. ever. Fans of Princess Diana have long wondered why Thon never came forward to clear his own name. Despite countless interview requests from journalists, investigators, and even British authorities, this key witness always said no. It wasn't until 2019 that Levon Than finally spoke, in a single interview with journalist Dylan Howard. When asked why he stayed silent for more than 20 years, Thon said it was because French authorities told him to. He explained, "You know what the French police told me? They said, the law in England isn't the same as in France. Don't go there." Maybe we'll never know the truth, who really died, who's still alive, and who simply chose to disappear. But one thing is certain, fame has a price, and not everyone can afford to pay it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to watch good videos. Goodbye.